So now when he drops him, so look at the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's up. 6, 7, 8. So he made it up to the count of 10. And he's obviously clearly rocked. Takes a big deep breath. But look, it's 12 seconds, 13, 14. The guy's still counting. 7, 8. This is a bullshit count. But boxing is a dirty business. It's a dirty sport. I mean, there's always one judge that's in the bag, it seems. Did you see the Francis Ngannou Tyson Fury fight? Francis Ngannou, who is the UFC heavyweight champion, he vacated the throne and had a boxing match with Tyson Fury, who is the lineal heavyweight champion. Dropped him in the third round and won on one judge's scorecard and lost on the other two. So he lost a majority decision in his first ever boxing match against arguably the best heavyweight boxer.
Wow.
Absolutely alive, but maybe of all time. And I thought he won the decision. A lot of people thought he won the decision. It's a very close fight. I mean, you can maybe say that Tyson Fury, I mean, you could kind of see an argument that he maybe could have won. I don't think so, though. When it comes to damage, I looked at it, I've watched it 3 times. And in my mind, he won the fight. And I think that's one of the most extraordinary accomplishments in combat sports history. A guy who's had 0 boxing matches, who is an MMA champion, goes and fights a guy who is one of the greatest boxers that's ever lived. I mean, Tyson Fury is phenomenal. Now, whether Tyson Fury took him seriously, whether he was overconfident, who knows? I mean, he literally said to him, "Time to go to school. I'm taking you to school," at the beginning of the fight. And then when
Tyson Fury said that?
Yeah, and then when Francis dropped him in the third round, after the fight, Francis was like, "You are a shitty professor." And Francis is a real freak. I mean, Francis is 6'5", a natural 272 pounds, and built like a Greek god. Because, I mean, he really rocked him. And, by the way, they gave him, I'll send you this, Jamie, they checked the amount of time that it took for him to get up. 23 seconds. So that's after he dropped him. Look how big Francis is. I mean, he's just an extraordinary specimen. And, you know, didn't even start combat sports. He was 25 years old. I mean, I had him on the podcast. His story is so insane. It is like something from a movie. He was working in the sand mines when he was 10 years old and developed this incredible strength, fucking digging sand.
Wow.
And when he was a man, decided that he had to leave his village and he wanted to be a professional boxer and wanted to go to Europe. So he walked and made his way to Morocco, like hitched rides, did all these different things, made his way to Morocco, and then 7 times traveled on rafts to Europe and got arrested and sent back. And when they would send him back, they would drop him off in the Sahara Desert. That's how they would do to people that were trying to make their way to Europe. And 7 times he made his way from the Sahara Desert back to Morocco, back to the raft, and one day finally made his way all the way across, was arrested, was in jail in Spain for I think 3 or 4 months, and then was homeless in France for a year. Found a gym, started training, and they told him to train in MMA. And so he starts training because he wanted to be a boxer, but they were like, "You really should be an MMA champion. MMA is a more popular sport now." So he starts training in MMA. 4 years later, he's the UFC heavyweight champion. I mean,
that's crazy.
Insane. So there's where he drops him. So now when he drops him, so look at the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's up. 6, 7, 8. So he made it up to the count of 10. And he's obviously clearly rocked, takes a big deep breath. But look, it's 12 seconds, 13, 14. The guy's still counting. 7, 8. This is a bullshit count. And the referee's still giving him an 8 count. And it's 22 seconds before they re-engage. And the way he hits him is just this clubbing left hook. It's not even like full power from Francis. I mean, he didn't really totally turn, like Francis is dancing in front of him. Yeah, and then battered him again in the 8th round, and somehow or another they gave Tyson Fury the 8th round on at least one judge's scorecard, which is fucking insane. It might have been 2 judges. But boxing is a dirty business. It's a dirty sport. I mean, there's always one judge that's in the bag, it seems.
Right.
At the very least, if they're not absolutely paid off, at the very least, they're deeply indebted to the promoters. And there is some sort of an agenda to have this person who's either the most marketable or the one who the most is writing on. I mean, I don't think he's going to have a rematch. He didn't talk about a rematch, didn't say he wanted a rematch. And Francis wants a rematch for sure. Francis thinks he won the fight. Immediately afterwards, most people were saying that Francis won. After watching it carefully, some people have said they see there could be an argument that Tyson Fury may have outpointed him. In my mind, Francis landed by far the harder shots, by far did more damage. And even though there's this thing that happens when you see an underdog outperform the expectations, which certainly happened. I think he was a 14-1 underdog. By the end of the fight, the online betting odds had Francis favored to win, which is crazy. And then many people, including myself, felt like he did enough to win the decision. I felt he won by at least one round. The guy who promotes Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, he gave Francis 2 rounds. He said Francis beat him by 2 rounds. It's just an extraordinary accomplishment. Even losing a majority decision to Tyson Fury is insane. Because the only time this has ever happened before where an MMA champion fought a boxer was when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather. But Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather when Floyd Mayweather was at the tail end of his career. It was the last bout that Floyd had. And Floyd just kind of like wore him out, outboxed him, and stopped him in the fight. Whereas Francis fucking dropped him in the 3rd round and battered him in the 8th round. And it was just an insane performance. I mean, literally like a legendary combat sports performance. It'll go down in history. When they talk about boxing and things that people have accomplished, it's one of the greatest accomplishments ever. Pretty amazing.